Ladies and gentlemen, if you can hear us, guess what?
We are back.
That's right, back and better than ever, I'd say.
I say so.
We are so excited to welcome our guest, DaJuan Johnson. Woo! That's
Yes!
right. You will know him from Bosch, from Grey's Anatomy, from Suits. I mean, literally, I looked up your IMDb and I was like, every show that I love. I was like, this is crazy, man. And you're also the mindset guy.
Yes, I am the mindset guy.
I love your tagline. You help actors actualize.
I feel like we need to sign up for everything that you're about because
Totally.
we're trying to figure all that out. We're like literally having a conversation today that we're like, how do we make all this stuff happen that we were wanting to do?
Literally the actualized part, the part that I think a lot of actors can relate to.
Yeah. But what if it's already happening? Why are you trying to make it happen? What if it is happening for you right now and you're like trying to make something else happen, but it's happening for you in this present moment?
I love that.
I
can't wait.
That's
to
what I got to figure
feel
out or not figure out.
Welcome to our show. We're so excited to have you in our home and be able to just have a conversation. I'd love to learn a little bit just about your story. Just kind of dive in.
It's like, we kind of talked about, we know it, like knowing each other through like circles of like classes and this and that. And it's just like, you kind of know somebody and their social media presence, but you don't really know them. So, even in this, it's like, okay, well, let's get to know each other better. Like,
that.
So, yeah.
You're like, how's this guy in my home? And I don't know anything about
I'm like,
him.
awesome. I know he likes mint tea.
Yes.
And even though we don't have, but yes.
No, it's good. I like green tea, actually. That's my favorite. Green,
Awesome.
Earl Grey and English breakfast. So just in case
For
I get
future.
invited back.
I was going to say, we'll have it next time.
We'll definitely have it next time.
Very embarrassed
You
on our
don't know.
tea collection.
It's you got to up the game on that.
Come here, Trent.
No, it's good. It's all good. I love a little good snuggle.
If you're tuning in on YouTube, you can see our little puppies joined us this
She's
this
here
week.
every episode.
Yeah, she's feeling me out. She's like, all right, this guy I don't know right yet. Let's see. How far do we want to go back? Is it specific like about your story about?
Let's start about birth.
Yeah, let's the minute you were born. No.
It's so funny because I'm not going to tell my date, but I have a lot of consecutive numbers in my life. That's a big thing for me. And one of the birth you're talking about, I was born at 12/13.
No way.
Wow.
13, and I could take it further, but I don't want to say my age.
Of course.
But my age it's all consecutive numbers.
Oh, awesome.
As well.
No way. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
It's really kind of cool. That's an odd, fun fact about myself.
Well, I like numbers are cool. I have a friend that's like obsessed with numbers, but
And we even we did some sort of numerology thing. Are you into like numbers and stuff like that, or you just because of your birthday?
Just because of my birthday. I think
in
so.
general.
I'm in general.
yeah, we were just like, this is weird. What is this? And they're like, oh, interesting. It's our like birthday thing. Anyway,
I love
so where are you from?
Okay, good. That's where we go.
Yeah,
I needed a place to start.
Yeah,
so
like where are you from, and like how did you end up telling stories and doing what you're doing? And
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm from Miami, Florida, by way of, I don't say Chicago because I lived there for till I was 5, but my dad and my grandparents and everybody else still lives in Chicago. So I used to say Chicago, Miami, and it just used to, like, people cannot comprehend that you're from two different places.
Yeah.
It melts their brain. Like, no, you can't really be. I'm like, but I'm kind of am, But I did all my schooling, I say, in Miami, Florida.
Okay.
Awesome.
And it's it's wonderful. All the way to college, where I went to University of Florida, and I studied acting there, theater, and dance, as they called it there. And I was a bit of a snob, theater snob. I spell theater R-E.
I still do.
And I kind of make fun of people like when they go to the theater with flip flops on or something like that.
Right.
Because I'm like,
how could you?
Well, yeah, because it's like
this place is sacred.
It's sacred. I was going to say it's like our church. We respect it so much. No offense, it's not a church. I know what
you mean, though. But it's like the Holy Grail. Like, come on.
And so that's where I grew up. And I loved it. And then so what I did was this. I was in residence halls when I was the whole time I was in college, and so I was an RA there, and I really enjoyed getting involved. With people. I love talking to people. I love working with students, and so it became another passion of mine. But I always wanted to do acting.
Did you grow up with brothers and sisters?
I did not.
Okay.
So that's live. They're listening to this. They're going to be like, what? What are we?
Like, what are you even talking about right
Who
now?
are we to
You
you?
just totally like dropping us like a bad habit. What's up?
Oh, we see how it is.
It's so funny. So let me clarify that. My brother and sister are 10 years younger than me.
Awesome.
Oh, got
So
it.
when I was, let's say 18, they were 8, if that
Yeah,
makes
Yeah.
sense.
when you were in the formative years,
Right.
you were solo.
Right. So I didn't, so I mean, I did, but like they're closer to each other
Yeah.
than I am. And I was like, I had to forge a relationship afterwards because I just didn't grow up with them, So, so I did. So I was in college and I did that. And I left University of Florida, and I went to Arizona for a little bit, and then I went to Colorado State. For a bit. Right, I know,
Nice.
right? To get a graduate degree in higher education and student affairs, because my mom was so adamant about like
Back up.
back up,
Yeah.
back up. And I was like, she was like, you can go out there and do the acting, but get it back up because you're not going to want to go back to school. And I was there, and I was doing great with higher education. It's like, on a collegiate level, working with students, like I love to do.
Yeah.
And I got to this place where I just stopped, and I was like, I'm tired of helping people with their dreams. I want to go out there and live mine. And mine
Yeah.
was to be a professional actor.
And so that's how that role was played out in your life in college, is you were actually helping, not just making sure that
Yeah.
people weren't killing each other in the dorms, but you were also kind
Yes,
of guiding.
and, right? Yes, and.
Yeah,
I was.
exactly.
Yeah.
People knocking on your door,
Yes.
being like, "He pooped in the hallway."
I could tell you stories.
I bet.
Preston, I mean, I could tell you stories. You're
Oh,
right on the
God.
money.
I bet.
You're right on the money with that. And yeah, so that's how I did that, right?
Okay.
And then, so I left. I finished it. I did get my graduate degree. My mother, it's good.
You have the photos to
I got the
prove it,
photos.
yes.
I walked
That's
across the
right.
stage, a master's degree, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it. I used to be really mad about it when I was like in my 20s, because I
Yeah.
missed some of those like young, years when it's very important now in our industry
Oh,
to be
gosh,
young,
yeah.
and I was like, I was in school.
When you're 20 and you can play 16.
right. And I listen, I always wanted to be on like, Dawson's Creek or something.
Yeah. Actually, I just ran into him.
Did you really?
Literally, she
At Creation
ran
in
into
Hollywood.
him.
James Vanderbeek?
Like, yes, James. I literally, my purse
His
hit
Prius.
his Prius or
Oh,
his
really?
Tesla.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm sorry, and I didn't know it was him. I was like, I'm so sorry.
Was he coming-
I'm so sorry, and he's like, huh? And I was like, oh, I think I hit my purse, hit my strap. But anyway, yes.
Oh, was it
I
a
just ran-
self-driving Tesla? So he didn't know.
Yeah.
He
That
was parked next to me, really close. I got out of my car. My purse hit his car. I was like, I felt so bad,
Yeah.
but I didn't even know it was him. I just was bad because it was a Tesla, and I was like, ah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, yes.
it's good. And so I left, and then I came out here in my mid 20s.
Yeah.
Right.
To Los Angeles in my mid 20s, and it was one of those things that it took me a while to get it together. I don't want to say get it together, but to, like in a sense of I didn't book anything. I wasn't I didn't understand. I don't know. I came out here and I was can I say a bad word? No.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was kind of like hot shit on a rock back
Yeah.
in Florida because
Right.
I played Hamlet.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I was like in the repertoire. I was like, I was Hamlet.
And in your theater,
Yeah, right. And I was
flip flops were not allowed.
exactly. You know what I mean?
Thespian.
So like I'm a thespian, and I came
Yeah.
out here like this is gonna happen for me.
Have you
They're
seen my
Right,
resume?
Exactly. This is like how I thought.
Yeah.
And then I realized when I got out here that everybody played Hamlet.
Isn't that
like I was in a
crazy?
sea of freaking
You're
Hamlets.
like, dang, I ain't the only one.
And Rosencrantz. No, it was like a whole bunch of them. And so anyway, that's just I got out here and I'm sure we'll cover a little bit more of that. But
Yeah.
I got out here then and just started hitting the pavement running, for a bit. And I didn't book anything for about the first 4 years, and it just about drove me crazy.
Did
Do you-
you, when you were in, and lastly, you were in Colorado State, right?
Yes.
When you were there, did you already know that you wanted to ultimately be in LA, or was it just, I want to be an actor wherever I am?
No. So I'm a very oh gosh, what do you call that person?
Textile?
Type A.
Oh, yeah.
Type A. I was thinking of the name. I'm very type A, and so I have to have a plan
Yeah.
in place. I've pulled away from it a little bit, or I've learned how to manage my type A-ness.
Right.
And
So it doesn't control
So
you?
it doesn't control me.
You can give me some of your type A.
Listen,
I can use a little more.
whatever
Type A.
residuals you got.
Yeah, dude, I did give it away, right? And so I left my first year. My first year at CSU, I knew that I wanted to leave. And my mom was like, you have one more year, stay and finish it. And so what I did in that time was in between my first year, I backpacked Europe.
Awesome.
Between my first and second year of
That's
grad school,
awesome.
literally backpacked Europe and by myself. And I then went to December. That December, I went to New York City
I was gonna ask you, like, why not
Yeah.
New York if you were such a theater? Like, did you?
Yeah.
Never, yeah, I was
And I
wondering.
have friends there. And
Okay,
so I
awesome.
had friends there from University of Florida that went up there. I stayed with them.
Go
And
Gators, by
yeah,
the way.
go Gators. Thank you very much.
I've always been a Gator fan.
Oh, thank you.
My
I
mom-in-law's
I don't
gonna
have
be
to
very
walk
happy.
out. I don't have to walk out.
I don't have to slam the
we don't
door.
have
You're
to live-
invited forever now.
So I went to New York City, and I realized I'm a Florida boy. It's too cold there.
Oh, man.
It was the people were they were on the train, and it was like they
Like
were like
North Face jackets,
it
scarves,
was
like 80 layers.
Not gonna happen. And no offense to anybody, and I hope this doesn't come off too bad, but like there were homeless people that were like, they would get on the train and they'd be like, "Hi, I'm home," and everybody would just be like, their heads down, and I'm like, "What is happening? What is
Like this culture shock.
And it was
What
like,
is
I was like,
going
"Why are we gonna get?" And because I grew up on a
Totally.
cul-de-sac in Florida, like.
I lived in Florida for 8 months, and that weather can get real warm.
Yes. No.
Yes.
Hot. I
Very
think
humid.
warm is nice.
Yeah, it gets
It can
spicy
get
out
warm
there.
in the winter.
But we didn't know any better, by the way. You know what I mean?
That's how you grew up.
I grew up, and so I didn't know there was anything like dry heat.
Right.
You know
Like
what I
out
mean?
here?
Yeah, I didn't understand that whole thing. So I did a little bit of time there. I did like a week there, and then I went out here for a week on that spring break, right?
Awesome.
And I was trying to
Gauge.
That's how that happened.
Yeah.
That is so. What's so funny about listening to this is it definitely is type A, but it's such a good plan.
Yeah.
You went and tested it.
Yes, I had to.
What a like, it's a novel idea for me because I'm just now learning the importance of like creating the big plans and really kind of working the steps. So the fact that in your education, when you're forced to, and I say forced to because I know that you respect your mom, but it was also something that you didn't necessarily want to do. But while you were there, you still were like, okay, what can I do?
Yeah.
In this moment that will set me up for the future. I really respect that.
And I'll just add to that. I never left theater.
Yeah.
While I was in Colorado, I taught theater at their school at the
Awesome.
CSU for a while. I still had an agent out in Denver. I used to drive 45.
Oh, no way.
So I never really left. And I booked my first paying job in
Colorado?
In Colorado, and my agent there was like, "I don't think you're ready to leave and leave Colorado and go to LA. You're not set up for that." And I was like, "I'm leaving."
You're like, bye.
I
Bye.
I don't think you want me
I
to
don't
leave.
think, but I understand all
I
of
get
that.
it.
So, right.
It's business.
It's business. But I didn't know it was business. I thought for me, it just amounted to like, "Oh, you're like my mother. You're trying to keep
Right.
me down, but I don't have to listen to you."
You're like, guess what? I'm out.
I graduated. I did my thing.
I did. And so it's good. It's good. It's good.
So you get here, you're 4 years in.
Did you, when you were 4 years in, were you like, I'm trained, I'm good, I just need to go book work? Or were you like, I still need to work that muscle? Like, I still
yeah.
need to be in class. I still, like,
Yeah,
do you feel like you needed to unlearn some of the things and then or not maybe unlearn, but like learn like additional things for like TV and film and I don't know.
Great question. I got you. I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. And the simple answer to that is a story.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love the story.
And I try to keep them small because anyway, I elevator pitch.
Right? That's what they call it.
Right, elevator
Hey,
pitch.
but this
I tell my
this
husband that
floor
all
is
the
on
time, like,
floor 50. Take your time.
Babe, this is the longest story ever.
Hey, we're going to floor 50. I pressed
love it.
all the buttons.
All the buttons. Let's do it. I love it. See, Preston, you think about it, you're like, can you leave some of your type A? I always think, can you leave some of yours with me? Because I feel like I could use a little bit of like, just chill. Like it's, I think, again, I know how to manage it better now. You know what I mean? But before, gosh, I really wish I could have laughed at myself a lot more.
Yeah.
I really
yeah.
wish that in my 20s I took everything so serious, and and like early 30s, like it was such a like and it's just not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not that serious.
Everything is not life or death.
It's not, but it was for me.
Yeah, that's how I am.
Yeah,
I am
it's
so
not.
yeah.
Do you guys know
that's
where
why
it
this
come
works.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
yin and yang for sure. She helps me.
Yeah.
Do you guys know? Identifying both. Do you know where that comes from? That almost like that seriousness that kind of drives within you.
I think I'm a first child.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah.
Firstborn.
I'm a second.
Firstborn.
And, you know, I feel like what happens is, you know, our parents possibly, or like all their like hopes and fears and, you know, desires come on to us, and we're so responsible, and we don't have, like, I see my brother and sister, they're like, I'm like, how do they get away with this? Like, do you know
Like,
what I
I
mean?
didn't get away with this.
I
How is that
never
even-
would have got away with this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love
I'm
it.
surprised that my mom knows my brothers and sisters' second, like, middle names. Like, you know, it's so like that. But I digress. I'm sorry. Your question was, so when I left school, like, and I came out here, right? When I got out here, again, hot shit on a rock, right?
Yeah, of course.
Because I was Hamlet.
Hello.
And I got my first audition at Paramount. I'll never forget it. What was his name? Jason Wood. Jason Wood was his casting director, and I went to him, and he was casting something, he was doing something, or maybe it was a class, whatever it was. We were there, and I did my audition, and I was like, in my mind, go ahead and clap, sir, because this is what they do in theater now.
I'll wait.
And it was
I'll
so
hold
great.
for applause.
And he was kind of like, he's like, can you just bring it down and just make it more real? And was his thing, and I was like, this guy, of course I can bring it down and make it more real.
Hello.
Right? I'm from University of Florida.
Thespian.
Theater.
Hello.
And you'll never guess what I did. I started whispering. Oh my God.
You're like, you really get that volume. That's hilarious.
Because I'm coming from theater, and I was
So, like,
just
I was projecting.
I was projecting too much. And
Yeah.
what I did was I was just like, and I did the thing, and it was like, you know, this is a road, you know, and I just brought it down, and he was like, okay.
Like, I can hear you now.
That's bringing it down.
I know,
That's
I
a
didn't.
way.
And so,
Yeah.
you know, I think I tell that story because, I don't feel like I was equipped when I left my school, which was fantastic. I'll tell you what my school did for me, but what it didn't do is I don't think it set me up to be in the business of acting. And I don't
Gotcha.
feel like I had an on-camera class, or I don't feel like I was ready for that stuff when I came out here. And so, yes, the answer to your question is yes, you need to get into some type of, it doesn't matter if you've done all this stuff in your college or your town or whatever, get into something out here so you can make sure that you're on the medium that they are. So if I went to New York right now, I would work with a professional or somebody who's going to teach me about Broadway, or, you know,
Exactly.
because I think I know it.
Yeah.
And yes, my confidence is up, but I should go out there and figure out what that medium is.
love that.
See, I love that, because even like if your confidence isn't like just from that statement alone, it's like it's not an empty confidence where you're like, I'm confident and I'm just gonna go. And I guess sometimes you have to do that too, where you just gotta like just go for it. But I think to have confidence that you're also like, you have the I would say intelligence to say, I can do that, but I also need to understand what it is that I need to do within that realm.
Right.
Versus just kind of winging it because it's an opportunity, right?
Yeah. So think about it this way: if we were at Bank of America, or we were a manager at Avon's, or and we came over to a new store or a new department, right? There's this book called like "Who Moved My Cheese." Basically, like you're not going to get there as soon as you get there and start like changing everything,
Right.
or doing everything. What you do is you kind of sit back for a little bit and watch the culture, watch you know, how things are ran, and so that's kind of like you're submerging yourself in that place, right?
Right.
That's kind of what I look at it like, is if we go to New York, or if we went to Chicago or Atlanta, like just take a look. You still have the
Observe.
confidence, you're still in lead, and just observe for a little bit. And it doesn't have to be like a year to 3 years or whatever. Just give yourself a little bit of time to figure out, like, okay, this is how this works. I can now hit the ground running, because everybody says that you always get a second chance, like, or you'll get another. And I do believe that you always do get a second chance. What they don't tell you is those second chances sometimes they can come like 10 years.
Yeah.
Right.
They
Yeah.
can come like 20 years.
Yep.
They're in that middle, and you will get another chance. It's not life or death, these auditions, but sometimes
Sometimes it
people's
takes a while to
mem-
come back around the block.
Yes. And so, you know, that's what I say to that.
It's so funny because I was just telling a story yesterday. I was in class. I'm taking this commercial class, and we were talking about like apologizing for yourself and like not being confident in these opportunities. And it's funny because I'm still trying to find my niche and like my get up theatrically. I've had a lot more success commercially, and I was telling.
I know you
the
have.
class.
I can tell by this like wonderful couch I'm sitting on. Right? No, fantastic.
Hey,
So
listen.
I know you guys are working somewhere. No,
Hey, listen. So, But with like making that push, and I remember years ago, it was a long time ago. It was when I had long hair, and I went into this. I had some agent that like I can't even know who it was at the time that submitted me for something theatrical, and I felt like I was very green, but I was still in class, but I think I was so wanting to get it right that I was always second guessing myself. Anyway, they brought me back in for producers, and the director and the producers were so kind that I was so nervous after the job that I had done because I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like I needed, I don't know, like I was taking up their space. And so they were like, so Nadia, tell us more about yourself. That was such a great job. And literally the only thing that could come out of my mouth was, I think my meter's about to expire. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I like just left.
That's amazing.
Like literally, I was like, oh my gosh, like, and I left, and they were probably like, what just happened? And again, like I thought about that because I hadn't thought about it in years. And I don't know, like, I mean, what if not that it was a bridge burned, but it's just sometimes you just think like.
That's why you haven't worked in Hollywood, actually.
That's why I'm blacklisted, guys.
I don't want to.
I had to put I had to put money in my meter, and I just left. I was like, what?
There's a note
I
going
put
around.
money in my meter. Like, what is wrong with me?
We're all blind, CC.
Right, I'm just gonna say you.
I should just dye my hair blonde and change my name.
You know what happened is it's like sometimes because these auditions, these rooms, these things are not. I don't want to say normal, but they're not.
They're not.
It's weird. It's like
very
you're in
odd.
there,
Yeah.
like, and it happens, so you give yourself a break. All you're thinking about is like this next moment of like, oh, you talk,
Right.
Like, not you. Like,
Oh, you are talking to me?
right? It's like, and it just, it's just one of those things. It's just
Yeah.
not. One of my really good friends, Colleen Foy.
I know
says-
Colleen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
of course
I know
you do.
Colleen.
She says auditioning is kinda like acting because
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's so many other things that are at play here.
It's its own thing.
It's its own beast, and so
and you get to use some of your acting.
yes,
But then there's this other piece that
got to use all of it.
exactly.
But then
and-
you're sitting in a room that's 4 feet by 6 feet, and the person reading with you is on a desk, and you're like this far from them, and then
Yeah.
you're supposed to do like all this magic, like right there, and it's just like, oh, there's like boxes everywhere, and
Yeah.
like a fan that's loud, and
Somebody, their air conditioning kicks in,
Yep.
all this stuff.
it's crazy.
It is crazy, but I love it. I have to tell you, I love auditioning.
Awesome.
I'm so like unlike any other actor because you'll hear.
What do you love about it?
I'm going to tell you, 90% of the actors don't love auditioning. I love auditioning because it is the absolute only time that you get to put your stamp on this work, and nobody's going to tell you what else to do it, how else they see it, or whatever. Like that one audition, the first time you run it is the only time that it is pure Nadia, pure Preston, pure DaJuan. Right?
Yeah.
Because even the second
that.
run of it is the casting director,
adjustment
an
or-
adjustment,
yeah.
or when you get on set, they're telling you to go here and do this, and it's not what you think.
Yeah.
Acting, it's very rarely do we get these beautiful scenes that we get to chew up the scenery, right? And we get to
Yeah.
act out what we think we're gonna do. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and then if we do it, then we it's just not ours. It's just I just love it for that reason. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
That makes total sense.
ownership of it.
It's our ownership. That's it.
And you know
to-
what? It's a
yeah.
great way in to appreciate and like or love a process that for some can seem so unnatural and just
Right.
so grueling.
Yeah.
Because I mean, oh man, you spent like what 90% of your career auditioning and then booking. however
Auditioning
many-
to a no.
Yeah.
Auditioning
Right.
to a no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like if every time that you're in there you're like, ugh, because it's not the actual job, or it's you either don't hear or it's a no or whatever. It becomes like you almost have to hack yourself to be able to like say, I'm gonna go do my job. I'm gonna go tell a story, or I'm gonna go do this thing that I worked on the way that I would love to tell the story.
And that's it. And you only get that chance. And then you go back to a callback. They'll get to do it again. If you get lucky, you worked on. I just think it's a beautiful. I guess maybe I have reprogrammed my mind to think
Right.
that way, but I really just think like, well, if this is our job, I can be mad about it, or I could,
Right.
or I could just say, this is what we do.
I love that. That's a lesson in life that I'm trying to learn is lean into the things that are tough and then get good at that.
Yeah.
Get good at the tough so that the easy stuff that you love is like awesome. We can do more. I was going to do a cheesy tie-in earlier. I was going to be like, talk about mindset. but I decided not to. So I decided.
But then you went and got it again, Preston.
I went and got it again, but I
even
set
worse,
it up.
though, if you
I did it like this is an experience for all of us. I'm in on the joke. We can all laugh together. That's funny. Oh man, what a silly idea! But I did want to kind of tie it into the 4 years, because you come out here, you're like, 4 years in,
got it.
You're like, I'm a thespian. I'm Hamlet.
Yeah.
Have you heard of University of Florida? Have you heard of their theater department? You're there, and you're like, the struggle is real.
Yeah.
So what was the journey for you going through that part, being really frustrated, and then accepting the job of the audition and falling in love with the audition?
I didn't accept the audition, by the way. That's an after booking thing. This isn't.
Awesome.
I didn't get that first couple of years, and I have to say, nothing was. I don't want to say that way, but like the first couple of years that I was here was magic, because my hustle, nothing's like your first beginning hustle.
Yeah.
Like, and you're out here, you're running and you don't care. And you're like out here, like handing out your cards and your headshots and you're doing all this stuff before you're told no.
Yeah.
It's like a kid, right? Before we're told no, you have to put on.
You still got that sparkle in your eye. That's like, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get those clear envelopes and I'm going to put my headshots in those.
Yes. And I'm going to go to this. And,
and they won't throw mine away.
Yeah.
They'll flip to 100 and then they'll.
You just think that. And so
Yeah.
I got agents that way. I got like, you know, I booked that way, but like student films and stuff. So I was really booking. And I think it just became really clear to me at one point, crystal clear to me. I was in this acting class and I loved this acting class. It was so good. It was such a good acting class because
Is it still around?
Yes. And we're not going to talk about it
Okay.
because
That's fine.
so I loved it, and it was like this thing that I would go to every week, and I feel cathartic.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're like,
it was
yes.
It was like one of those acting classes where we talked a lot for like 45 minutes in the beginning,
it.
and then we acted, and then everybody was just like, yes. And then I just realized I would about 9 months in, I would look around, and I was like, none of you motherfuckers are booking. Like none of you, like nobody's. Is this like an 8-month like therapy session I've been in? Like, and I was like, and nobody had
Yes.
headshots, nobody had things. They're like, and I was just like, you don't even have agents. Where am I?
You're like, why am I here?
But I felt good, like I was doing
Right.
something, and it was like one of the best things that could have happened to me, you know, because I had to like stop, and I was like, and I just started changing things around from that moment, and I got into this other acting studio, and you could tell that things were changing because the conversations had changed. You know what I mean? Amongst the people in the in the hallways, in the competition was a little bit, and it just became like, great, this is where I want to be, and I started really putting into play. Be careful who you surround yourself with, right?
Yeah.
Because you can literally shoot yourself in the, or you can thrive,
Yeah.
right? And I thrived at this other studio, who again, another person I don't want to say because I don't that they kind of emasculated me in that studio, but it was like this way to get to this, and I don't recommend that studio.
Got it.
I don't, and I won't. That's why I won't say that.
Yep.
So but I started booking at that studio.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
And because I mean, I did
Almost
and
the community too.
because of the community,
Yeah.
and everybody else was like, and so I started booking there.
See, I
and,
love that.
and it was great, and I really just you get a taste and of this drug.
Well, it's also, if I think I know what you're talking about, it's one of those things too where it's almost like contagious.
Yeah.
The excitement and the it's like there is this level of competition where it's like, oh well, so and so's like auditioning all the time and they're booking and like, well, I can be booking, and
You're in
and
that circle.
You're in
Yeah.
that circle of people that are working, and they're working a lot, and
Yep.
they're going out, and it definitely does something to you, because I've been in both, where I was at a really great scene study class that I won't get into the name of that, but which I still love the work that's being done there.
Yeah.
But I was there for maybe 2 years. And then because I was really enjoying the work, because I've never done theater. I didn't come from theater. I grew up in
Yeah.
San Bernardino, and like the arts was not anything that was really celebrated out there. And so for me, when I tried acting, I fell in love with it watching a scene study class.
Oh, wow.
That's
Yeah.
how I fell in love with acting. I was
She
like,
did
this
it
is
just to make her more comfortable for
in
her
front of the
modeling
camera
days.
for my modeling, my FI yeah, my modeling days for like Lowrider magazine. But it was so ghetto.
gosh, I love
but it was my in. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll take an acting class. Fell in love with it. But then when I was in that scene study class, I was like, how long have you been in this class? 8 years? And these people were amazing,
Yeah.
and didn't have agents, didn't have credits. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, and this is what, our podcast, No Business Like Show Business, there's a business side to this.
Very real.
That if you can't figure it out, if you can't figure that shit out, no matter how talented you are, you are not going to work.
Yeah.
That's right. You can literally be
maybe
great.
you might work here and there, but I was part of this amazing theater company.
Yep.
And it, I had never done it, so I was actually super proud of myself that I was able to come in, audition, and there was some great people, like working actors that have won like awards and
See, that's where you want to be.
Right.
But here's the thing, though. It became this thing where it was like every Saturday morning, like we would talk for 2 hours and listen to the teacher, like basically like just talk about himself like forever.
Yeah.
And then we do these exercises. And then a lot of these people were a lot
On
older than me. Saturday morning at 10 a.m. And then some of these people were older than me. And I'm like, and they're amazing, but I'm like, how have y'all been here for 20 years and you don't have an agent, or you're still auditioning for like
It's a mess.
co-stars? And so
There's nothing wrong with co-stars, everybody.
no, you got to do them. But like, if you've been hustling for so long, at what point, like, do you have to change your strategy to be able to like, not that you can't be doing co-stars, but it's like it just felt like there was still like, like,
Well, you know what I've learned? I've learned, Nadia, that not a lot of people who are, not a lot of, let me say this correctly. There are a lot of people who are extremely talented that do not have drive.
Right.
That do not have the wherewithal to make things happen.
Yeah.
Right.
And I call that kind of like, and this is one of I don't want to say saddest parts, but it does hurt me a little bit, my heart, when actors don't realize that you must have a business hat and an actor hat, right?
Yeah.
And when you confuse when to put on which hat, that's when it kind of gets kind of heartbreaking, right?
Yeah.
And so these people were in their actor hat, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And instead, what you needed to do is remember that this is a business. Put on your business hat. How do you market yourself? Why don't I have an agent? Why am I all my materials, like all of that stuff?
Are they old? Do I need new headshots?
Yeah. But and what I've come to understand, and this is me as I'm in this business for now, what I've come to understand, what I don't think a lot of people do get is about, I'm going to just give a random percentage, about 75 to 80% of this business, guys, is your business hat. 75 to 80% of this business, it's your business hat, but people don't get that, and they want to keep putting on their actor hat, their craft hat, their emotion hat.
Right.
Not that you can't have emotion in business, but you must understand that there's a way to market yourself, there's a way to put yourself out there, there's different ways. And I'm sorry, like a lot of the people that are getting what they've got, they're super smart. Right now, on my doorstep that just said Amazon just delivered Bryan Cranston's book.
Awesome.
Bryan Cranston's.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, and I was listening to a story that he told. Somebody else was telling me about it. How he stacked the deck for that Better Call Saul. Breaking Bad
Yes,
role.
yes.
Yeah.
You know how he stacked the deck in his favor, which was a business hat move.
I didn't hear about that story.
And you should definitely listen to it.
I'm going to listen to it.
The gist of it is, he kind of like, they wanted to test him for this role and test like 5 other people, let's say, or whatever it was, right? And the gist was, he was like, well, I don't want to test this, I want this role, or whatever. He was the dad from Malcolm in the Middle at this time.
Yeah.
And he was like, he'd already talked to him. They were, he wanted to be number one, but they still wanted to test other people. And he's like, how about if I leak it that I have another role? Like I have another part, and and we leak it somewhere that this is what's going on. They leaked it, and he got a straight offer from that.
Wow.
But that's a business move.
Right.
That's not an actor move. Let me go
that's-
sit and pace and wait for this
And hope.
For someone to
and
give
hope
me
that
that,
it's going to
yeah.
happen. You got to make some of these business moves, and we don't get that. We make business moves also from fear, which
Right.
you can't make.
Yeah.
Did that come to you, that knowledge of this? Was this something that was taught in your school, or was this your
learned it
personal
eventually.
experience, or through the fire you
Fire.
became a diamond?
Fire, and
Shine bright like a diamond.
right?
Yes.
Thank goodness for that. But like, it's like what do you call it? Volcano.
Yeah.
Because we've been through it out here. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's true.
Preston, I'm going to ask you to clarify that question because
Yeah.
I don't, because I'm a wordy guy and I don't want to go down this whole road that you're not.
No worries. The thing that kind of strikes me is recognizing that the business part is so important.
Got it.
but also, the balance of having the actor part of you that just wants to be able to express. Where did your recognition of the importance of the business come in your journey?
Great. That's a fantastic question. And I would say it came after losing so many goddamn parts.
Right?
Oh Lord.
And understanding
That's the
and being
worst.
so close. And,
Yeah.
and I lost this part about 4 years ago. It wasn't mine, so I can't say I lost it, right? But I didn't get this part.
You're right.
I didn't get it. And I was the director's choice. I was the studio's choice. They loved me. The casting called me at night to tell me that you're coming back in. This is what they're looking. I mean, it was like this. Everything.
They want everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything felt like it was stacked in my favor. Went in there, delivered it. It was super fantastic again. Do you know what I mean? And they
Yeah.
were just like, great. I was on hold. I was pinned for this,
Oh,
right? For a
goodness.
bit of time. And they were like, great. We're just waiting for blah, blah, blah. A week went by, 2 weeks went by. And I was like, what's going on, guys?
Yeah.
And third week came by, my people called again. They're like, okay, here's what really is happening. The guy who got offered a part, before DaJuan came into it, he said no. In comes DaJuan. We do all this for 3 weeks. He comes back in at some point during my story.
Yeah.
Right. That I don't know. He comes
Right.
back in, and they're negotiating with him because they wanted him or whatever. And it ultimately went to him because he had a higher visibility. He was more well known, and yay for him. Right. I bless that.
Yeah. Right.
But what I realized from that's just one that comes to my mind.
Right,
From that moment, I realized that I had to start rigging the system in my favor.
Yeah.
And that's what I started. This is a business.
I got to figure this out.
I got to figure this out because it's not about my craft, right?
Right.
Because if we're up against it, we're both great actors.
Right. You wouldn't be in the room.
Would not be in the room. I wouldn't.
That's such a big lesson. You would not be in the running out here
Yes.
if you didn't have something to bring.
Well,
So, yes, yeah. But it's much more here likely that you at least have something than maybe in other smaller markets. But
Yeah.
at least out here, if you're getting called in multiple times,
Yeah.
you got something.
we're talking about studio network level, like, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
and what I realized, one, you had to rig the system in our favor more, right? And I'll tell you about that if you want.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Two, guys, what we don't realize is there is a super thin line between good and great. Right? We can get in there. We do great. We do good auditions. It's good. But then
Yeah.
it's like the great auditions. Like, what's gonna really like catapult this, right?
Set you apart, to the point where you're great.
Right, where you're great, but also you have a cachet behind you. People know you. People are talking about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, we know this guy. That guy's been on this show, and we can plug him in because that is a business move for them too. What we
Right.
don't realize is they're trying to get their show to go a second season.
Right.
They're trying to get it to get some better ratings,
some money,
and,
yeah.
and they're trying to sell Tide.
Yes.
Right.
Advertising.
But we're like, no,
Yeah.
no, this is like our emotional journey. And
Exactly.
And once I really started to understand that, and maybe that was a coping mechanism for me to
Yeah.
get through that part because it wasn't about, there was nothing I could do at that
I was just
moment.
gonna say you have no control over that.
I had no control. I had done everything in the room.
Yeah.
I had these big people knew my name, and everything was stacked. Basically in as much as it could be in my favor. Now that I
time,
think
yeah.
about that, no, that was a different network. There had to be a different way, and so I set out on a mission to rig the system in my favor.
love
And what
that.
that looks like is raising my profile. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so on my current show, that next season, I went on I hired my own very expensive PR,
Yeah,
and so I
yeah.
was out in places. I was in Miami, in my hometown, on their Channel 5 or whatever, doing
Oh, I love
the
that.
news.
Yeah.
I was different places, in magazines, any place that would listen to me. I was like, we're gonna go hard and try to raise this profile for so other people would know me
Yeah.
outside of this market. People will start to get on social media more. And,
See your face and know the face to the name.
yeah, and I just started pushing. I just started like getting, and with a vengeance almost, like
Right.
if this is my task right now to still elevate, or raise my profile,
Right.
for that. So, and I did that. I had that in mind when I was, a contender for the Emmys.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was gonna say. I was like so pumped for you.
It is, and that was a big thing. That my goal for my for your consideration campaign was to raise my profile.
Awesome.
It was a big thing just to raise my profile. And I was like, great. I would love to win. Guys, I went in wanting to win, but more so, I wanted to get people who didn't know me to know me, right? And so that was
business. That's a good business.
It's a business.
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, I ran Facebook ads. Do you know what I mean? So 11,000 people on social media saw my For Your Consideration campaign.
Awesome.
Casting directors. I
That's
sent
awesome.
what do you call screeners to every single casting director in the academy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're like, watch this. You have to, if
Right.
you haven't already, see this.
But here's the deal. That wasn't my goal. Because guys, again, business, right? We have no control over what? If they're going to get that and pop it in their thing.
Right.
What do we have control over? They're going to open it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so that was my goal was, let me open this. The packaging is going to be amazing because I want my face is going to be all over it. So I had to think like a businessman right at that moment.
Yeah.
Because the goal wasn't necessarily watch this art.
Yeah.
The goal was first notice what I look like.
Yeah.
One.
Right.
Touch something that I've done.
Yes.
And the next time you see me, you might go, wait, where did I know him from? You might not even know where you knew him from, but you're going to go.
Emmy consideration?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Exactly. Yes. Can I take it a step further?
Yeah, please.
If you think about like the week during the Emmys, we get so many screeners. It's like, it's like about 200 screeners are sent to our house, right? And you have piles of stuff. Everybody I knew had piles of stuff thinking they're going to watch everything, right?
Oh, of course.
Right. And so you have stacks of it. My goal was no matter which way you sat that screener up on one of your things, my face would be present.
Oh, I love
so
that.
as you walk past this piano or you walk past this couch, you're like going to catch a glimpse of my face. And I wanted to jog memories that way. Business move. It cost me a lot of money to make that business move. But I'll tell you this. That the week I sent those screeners out, the next week I got a straight offer on a popular show, right? And made triple that. Right. So I made my money back.
Amazing.
And everybody's like, it could be coincidence. It could be, but also it could be the universe saying here, back again. Or it could be
the investment that you made.
The investment that I made because I believe in sending ships out for yourself.
But work begets work, and that's even work. You're putting in the work, and it's like the law of like action or something. It's
you're right. It is that. But can I break it down into the mindset stuff or like the way I like to tell my clients or other actors that I'm working with? I say it's about like sending those ships out there, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean sending ships out there? And back in like the 18th century, back in like London or whatever, like when they were it's too far back. Go back further, 1500s, whatever.
Right.
When they're sending ships out there, and they're like one guy would invest in all of these ships. So he think he has 7 ships that he wants to send out to go explore to bring back gold, right?
Yeah.
So so all 7 ships, he builds them and all stuff like that, and he puts people on them, and he sets them out. All 7 ships go out at the exact same time. Think about it this way: if you're visualizing this, 2 of those ships are going to get like lost at sea, and they're not going to come back. There's definitely going to be one of them that gets like ate up by a whirlpool, or something like that,
or struck by lightning,
something like that, and then you definitely know that mutiny is going to happen on at least one of them, right? Because they're going to try to overthrow each other. So what do we have, like 4 ships right now?
Right.
2 of them are going to hit land and never come back. They're like, this is better here. We're not going to do that later.
Coming back.
But then one might come back with some gold, right?
Right.
And it's about like, if you don't send the ships out there, nothing will come back.
Yeah.
And a lot of actors we found that they're waiting for something to come back, but they're not sending any ships out there.
Oh,
yeah.
It's
like sowing seeds. It's like sowing seeds.
It is. Do you see how you thought I was just telling another story, huh, Preston?
No, I love it. And something that kind of comes to mind that I think is also like a part of the business part of that is you're sending these ships out. And the thought that I have is there a way, and I'm sure there is, especially with social media marketing these days, but is there a way that you can aim those ships towards the most likely place that has gold, i.e. if I'm sending out, that screener, you don't want to send a screener to someone who doesn't watch TV, right?
Yeah.
You want to send it to someone who is in the business and who loves it.
I didn't want to send screeners to my mom.
Yeah.
Right.
And all your
she can
aunts
get it
for free, right?
right? They get the link.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And here you go.
You get the download for free.
Yeah, well, that's intentional, right?
Yeah.
So we can call that intentional action or
Yeah.
intentional ship sending, right? So that it's really important for me to send it to like all the casting people, and then my team of people can follow up and be like, yeah,
Right.
he had this, da 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 da. Or casting directors who already knew me, they were posting on social media. DaJuan, look what we got. We're rooting for you.
Awesome.
That was already
That's
a
so
win.
wonderful.
And so we
Totally.
have to think like that, because I think what happens is a lot of us out here, which I've learned to step out of when I started teaching at the studio where we met.
Yep.
I learned to step out of group actor think. I can't be that scared actor who's like, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to be that actor who feels like all that stuff that we actors bring to the table.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
It's almost like scarcity mentality in a way, even though it's not. It is.
No, it is. It is.
Because I feel like you feel like
fear.
you're a burden, and you feel
Yeah.
like you're like, I don't want to.
But why do you feel that way?
Yeah. Why do I feel like that?
Not you, but think
And
about it. Like, why do they feel that way?
Because they're afraid of there's not enough, or they don't want to
Right.
rub somebody the wrong way, or make an enemy,
And
or
their shot gets blown or something like
they don't
that.
want to be annoying, or
I think what happened is an annoying person who wasn't respectful, who didn't know what they were doing, who didn't, maybe have boundaries or something like that, went out there and did it and got a person's like, no, you don't drop your headshot off when I'm at PF Chang's
Right.
in the middle of dinner with my, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You have boundaries. And so then that casting director maybe went on a rant, and then everybody starts thinking I don't think you should, approach. And
Yeah.
so what,
Right.
and instead of can we be respectful? Can we figure out I'm still going to do this? How can I do
Right.
it with respect?
and do it well,
And do it
yeah.
well. And so what we do is we start to listen to other people's beliefs, other people's stories, and we start to take them on. Be careful. Be very careful about other actor think and they're taking on their stories, because you don't want to take on their beliefs, and you don't want their scarcity,
Right.
their fear.
Well, you kind of, if you're sitting there just talking, it's like this. It's
Yeah.
to a point, if you're sitting there talking with just a bunch of people that are negative, what do you're not only are you're taking that in, for one.
Right.
Yeah.
And for two, it's so much harder to be the voice of reason when everybody's
Why is
the
it harder?
naysayers, because it's just it's almost like they're bringing you down, and then
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, but and every time you say something, it's it reminds me of my mom, but you know what I mean? Where
Now
it's
we're getting deep.
Right.
for real. But it's just
The
it's a lot
layers
of
keep being
energy.
peeled.
It's a lot of energy.
But we call those energy vampires.
Yes.
Energy vampires, because they're literally sucking. And you know what? If anybody's listening to this,
Don't be an energy vampire.
I'm sure there's a lot of people. I didn't mean
Totally.
if anybody.
If there's a single
if there's a
person
single person out there
out there.
listening, no. But if you're listening to this and what you're saying resonates, right? There's people
Yeah.
around you, and sometimes it can be. I don't want to be like, well, I can just do that. But what I've learned to do is either just be quiet and let them do their thing, or when even it's one other person, I'm like, yeah. Because
tough.
I don't have to. Yeah, I don't have to add to that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I understand that. And sometimes I just, my friends get so tired. They're like, DaJuan, can you just be normal? I was like, this is normal for me.
Right.
Like, do you know what I mean? I can shift it. And after I didn't get nominated for an Emmy, I took care of myself personally for 48 hours,
Yeah.
72 hours. But then I came back and I was like, great. Well, here's the good thing about that. Or here's what I learned about that. And I was
Right.
just already trying. And they were like, DaJuan, can't you just be down for a little bit? I was like,
I was for
down.
72 hours.
I
allocated the
cried, and
Yeah.
I did it all. I took care of myself. I shut my phone off. But then I was like, okay, I don't want to stay here forever.
But what also
and-
how long can you stay there before it starts? Every little no and every disappointment ruins you, and just it almost makes you cynical.
Yeah.
I love
Or it
that
can.
because you
I'm gonna shift. You go ahead.
oh please
Yeah.
you let yourself feel it,
Absolutely.
right? And without bottling that up, taking it on to the next venture.
Yeah.
But something that this brings up that I've had thoughts on for a long time is it also
Was it me?
yeah, totally. I've been thinking about you. I got this Facebook
Yes,
post
my Facebook
for
post.
your consideration,
Yeah.
and I have
It's
considered.
ingrained.
You said DaJuan Johnson too nicely.
I have
No, it's great.
considered.
I say yes, sir. I'm sorry. Go ahead. If this has you thinking, go ahead.
So it has me thinking of a big part of this is it's not necessarily just can you act, but it's also what do you bring and what is your story that flavors in this character, and how did you approach this character? But the way that I think about it in terms of marketing, and something that I've dealt with, is you can have the idea that is respectful, is very creative, it's very interesting, it's something that someone has never done or seen before, and you cannot do it because 100 actors are telling you, no, don't do that. It's never going to work.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with it myself where it's like, her and I talk all the time. We're like, we got to run away from the people that are the no's.
Yes.
Because there's already 100,000 no's out there. It's like, we don't need to be the ones doing that. So I think about sending out the ships. You think about coming up with creative ways to get in front of people. Just as a kind of anecdotal story, in the music business, it's because I grew up playing music and that's where I thought I was going to go in life. But in that business, it's also told you never drop off your demo to a record label. That is like, if you do that, you're never going to work. That record label will never pick you up. Literally, they'll look at you like, how dare you walk in our space? And that may be true and might have happened for that one person who did it rudely.
Or like whatever they dropped off was
But
just,
freaking Taylor
I don't
Swift
know.
knocked on every single record door in town, and most of them were rude.
Yeah.
And then Big Machine picked her up.
Yeah.
And then look at her career. So I hear stories like that, and I'm like, I'm not a rude person.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disrespect someone's time. Why can't I be creative and try something?
Figure it out. Yeah.
And see what happens from there rather than being told, no, don't do that. It'll never work. It didn't work for anyone. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what this brings up. It's like, it can cut off your originality.
It does.
You fall into that.
You want to find, Steve Harvey says, basically, if 9 of your friends are broke, you're going to be the 10th one.
I love that.
I know.
And take that, and I take that to
love
me. And
that.
he's like, basically, you want to find the people, and I don't want anybody out there listening to this to rob a bank at all.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a story.
We've thought about
But,
heists.
Yes,
Just kidding.
I understand that. But he says you want to find the people that are like, you come up to him, you say, Nadia, I want to rob a bank. And you're like, great. So how do we do this? Do you want to like not like let you like go out and do something bad, but also there you're like, great. How do we should we like build a fort? Like should we camp it out? Like they are the people that are pushing you up with your good ideas.
Encouraging, building to build.
Yes. I want to go shoot this film. Okay. So let's talk about that. Do you want to go to like da-da? Instead of like, that can't happen. You can't rob a bank. I mean, I've seen you run. You can't run. Like,
Listen, you ain't that fast.
right. You know what I mean? And so like, I think that's important. It's not about surrounding yourself around people who are going to just always say yes to you. You know what I mean? But they are going to like help you, get to that goal. It's like, you know what? We probably can't rob a bank, but what we can do to get money is we can go do that. You know what I mean? So it's like,
totally.
Yes, because there's a big difference
Totally.
between a yes person that to me is flattery.
Yes.
It's just it's basically like shallow.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's people that can if there are obstacles, they're not just there pointing. Then there's those people that are like, no, you can't do that. You got like, there's permits. Really, what's your budget going to be? How are you going to raise the money? Like, it's so hard these days. Versus, then there's that. And then there's people that are like, well, let's figure that out. Like, what would it take to do that? What would it take? So let's figure, then they're like trying to help come up with a plan versus just staying at the nose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And we as actors, we got to get away from the people with the nose. There's enough nose out there, like you're saying.
Yeah.
So, so that's what I try to be in my coaching business, and that's what I try to be.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing? Yes.
What? So I was at the studio where we met,
Right.
and I was an acting teacher there, and one of the things that I started seeing after working there for a bit was actors would get up there in front of the class or an audition or private coaching, and they would just have this ick about them where they're just like, I don't, why am I doing this? It's already offered out anyway. Or if I don't book this part, my agent's going to drop me. Or, it was just like this type of thing that people were bringing to it. It's like such
Like a rain cloud.
It's just like an aura. Like,
Yeah.
And I was like, if you're walking into the room with that, like it's already a no. And people think that we can cover it up, but we can't cover it up.
You can't fake it that hard.
You can't. Have you ever met somebody like maybe you haven't even talked to them, but you can already know that that's not somebody that I need to like. I like it just is. And so we think that's what we're doing, but we're trying to pretend like we're covering it up, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I wanted to start working with people on the inside stuff on that, and I was like, because I got to get in that mindset to help them shift that. But people wanted to know about arcs or reversals and all that stuff like that. And I was like, that's not going to matter if you walk in there.
Right.
And you don't have this.
It doesn't matter how technical you're going to be
Doesn't
if your
matter.
inner self of yourself is not right.
Totally.
It's not in alignment, right? So thankfully, the studio that I was at did not want me to do that.
Right.
Did not want me working on that piece with them. They wanted me to teach the technical, the acting, the craft, and stuff like that. And that's understandable. That's what their
Yep.
studio was about. It's
Yep.
not, that's why I say thankfully.
Totally.
You know, that's because it was one of the best moves that could have happened, because I was like, I'm gonna
Wanna
go
do
do
this.
this.
Yeah.
I want to do this, and sorry. And there was a couple of no's that came with that, and I was like, great, I'm gonna go off and start my own thing.
Yeah.
And in meditation, I kept asking like what else is possible? What else, use me? And I came up with, I love working with people. I love working with actors.
Yeah.
And I also love mindset stuff. And so I went and got certified to be a life coach.
Oh, awesome.
And I did that process for a year, and I basically, nobody told me no. So I went out there and started my own business.
Awesome.
And I started, and the whispers in the universe started coming, where I got this amazing business coach, Dallas, who was like, she just came out of the woodwork, and she was just
I've
like,
heard of her.
yeah. And she was like, DaJuan, I want you to work with me. And out of nowhere, I hadn't taken any of her classes or workshops. I've known of her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had tried to, I went to the same certification process that she went through, because I went to her website. I was like, I want to be what she was. And it's so interesting how we got together. So, and I built Think Bigger Coaching. And that was my thing, because I really wanted actors and myself. And, I haven't arrived. I'm still doing it myself a lot.
Yeah,
of the
'cause
stuff.
you're still acting,
I'm still
and that's what you're doing.
acting, and
Yeah.
I'm still coaching. Like, I still do all that.
Do you do audition coaching still?
I don't do audition coaching
Okay,
anymore.
you
'Cause I mean acting. Sorry,
Yeah.
Life coaching. Okay, that's what I wanted to
with actors.
clarify.
Yeah, because that's just not where I mean, I can, and I do help if I can.
Right.
But it's just not where I want to put my energy.
Right.
But
You
it's
know what I mean?
also right. I think one of the things we're learning is when you're trying to do too many things, how can
Yeah.
you be good at
Right.
What is it? Have you read that book, Think and Grow Rich?
Yeah.
So it's like your definite chief aim.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have them, and then it just makes it easier to say, hey, this would, for especially for those like things that are real close, where it's like,
Yeah.
I actually do enjoy that, but is it getting me closer to really like my definite chief aim? And if it's not, then it's a no.
Just because you're really good at something doesn't
Yes.
mean you always need to
Yes.
do that.
I love that.
So I created my own business, and I started working with actors this way. And it really became obvious to me that when I was coming up, I didn't have anybody like me, you know, and I really just wanted to sit down with a working actor.
Right.
And I wanted to hear how their roadmap, what do they do? Just their experience. And I wanted to start being that person for other actors. And so my thing is like, I wanted to send the elevator back down.
I love
you know what I
that.
mean? And people go and do, and I just wanted to be that sounding board for them. I wanted to be that push. I wanted to be that accountability person that says, this is what you need to do. You said you
That's
want to do
awesome.
this. Let's do it. Let's get it done. And I just became really good at it. And I enjoy it. I love working with actors. Here I am 5 years later.
Dang, it's been that
It's
long.
been 5 years, right?
That's amazing.
And so I just became the mindset guy, because I wanted to work on the mindset with
Right.
people.
It's like it sounds to me like it's like, why work on the house when the foundation is broke?
But that's what I keep saying. And what people don't understand is if your foundation isn't solid, and you go out there and try to get these things, achieve these things, or go after these things, what happens at your first obstacle, at the first time you had
Oh,
adversity, you snap back to that place, and you're like, well, I knew it wasn't going to work. Well, it didn't work because you didn't make your foundation solid, right?
Right.
And this isn't an oh look at me moment, but like years ago, losing that Emmy or losing that nomination
Yeah.
would have sent me down a very long spiral where I couldn't have come out of that, where I couldn't have done this. But I've been doing a lot of foundational work where it's like, it just was like, great, DaJuan, go back to be honest with yourself. What were you trying to achieve? Did you achieve that? I did.
I love
But what
that.
happened was I moved the dangling carrot. And we do this in our life a lot. We try to go after a goal, and we get that goal, but we don't know we got that goal, because what we've done is we've moved the carrot.
Yeah.
Moved it
Yeah.
further. And you're never happy because we keep moving the carrot. And so I
But
enjoy
you
the
made
carrot.
it. You
got
got the thing, but
Yeah.
you just now just
didn't-
slipped it a little bit more, and then you're like, yeah,
That's not
but
okay. Right. But it could be more. And so,
Right.
so I went back and celebrated like what I did and why I did it. And you're like, this is exciting. This is
Yeah.
what we have. Hey, yeah, sure, I didn't get the icing that I wanted, but I got this other stuff, and we get to celebrate the other stuff too.
And you know what's so great about that is that I think that there's some there's social media, and again, not to knock what people do or what they
Yeah,
post, but I feel
yeah.
like sometimes there's this false sense of joy that I think
Yeah.
that and contentment
Yeah.
that I think it's like, because there's a negation, because I think that there's a fine line between like being able to get over stuff and completely suppressing.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a dangerous when we're constantly sweeping away and not being real with our human emotions and being
Right.
like, actually, that really sucked. Because, it's like, I went through something really hard, and then I saw an actress I had experienced a loss a couple years ago, and I saw her, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't know that happened to you." I was like, "Yeah." So it's been like really hard. And she's like, what is there to be? I just don't understand. Like, what is there to be sad about? Like, life, it's like chapters, and it's like one chapter opens and another one closes. Just like be thankful for the fact that like you had that chapter at all, and like now it's closed. So be thankful for that, because now, but it's like, are you human?
Be like,
I was like, exactly. I was like, bitch, you got blood running through your veins. What's going on?
Yeah.
Because it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, I think that there's, I always tell myself, I feel like this industry can destroy you if you don't have a strong foundation. And I think sometimes, I always say like God tries to protect us, because if we're not ready for what's to come, or even the bumps in the roads, like you said, it's like, it's something that, you had your 48, 72 hours, and you let yourself like grieve that or be sad about it.
yeah.
But had you just said, "Nah, it's no big deal," but it was, and that takes longer because you're in denial.
I want to be clear that, like, let me just be clear that the 72 hours is just because I live a public life,
Right.
because I'm a coach that's out there on social
Yes.
media, because I'm also on a television show in its 6th season. So I live a little bit more of a public life, and especially when I went out there and campaigned hard, it was public, right?
Right.
So what I had to do, especially for the first 24 hours, was I couldn't worry about everybody else's feelings,
Right.
or try to respond back to the text and
Yes.
the emails. I needed to just manage myself. That's what I couldn't manage anybody else's emotions. I needed to manage my own for a while.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
that's why I was in the bed. That's why I was and I did that. And the 72 hours is an arbitrary number, right? I just want to
Right.
be clear, anybody listening to those,
Yeah,
you got to get over this in 72 hours.
The right now,
No, it's a
72. Got it.
process.
You're not simplifying it, but you didn't let yourself like sit in your home for a month and just with the lights out and like just.
Yeah, but it also but what I'm also saying is that a week later I was still feeling it. It ebbed and
Right,
it flowed.
right,
And it
right.
was like 2 weeks later, it's like, oh man, I got to go do this. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I'm not saying all of a sudden I'm a robot in 72
Yes.
hours it shut off, is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah.
That's what I just want to be clear about that, because people could take a week. Do
Right.
you know what I mean? But I think at some point I was just kind of like, all right, cool. And I just want to also add this point, if you'll let me. I know we're time.
No, you're
good.
fine.
But I did a Facebook Live in my Think Bigger Tribe Facebook group.
Awesome.
Yeah.
After that, I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
I did a Facebook Live where I was kind of very emotional about that.
Yeah.
About the whole Emmy process, and why I was emotional about it, because after I managed my emotions, what happened sitting in the elevator back down, what I really thought of was like, I really hope this doesn't deter anybody else from trying to run for the Emmys. I started thinking about my tribe. You know what I mean? And they saw this, and the performance was so great, and they were like, "We're sure you're going to win." And I was like, I just
Yeah.
really became overwhelmed with like, I hope me putting this out there doesn't deter anybody else to thinking
Right.
that, this can't happen for me. And what I thought was like, DaJuan, that's a very egotistical thing to think. You don't know what anybody else is thinking. You put it out there. And so I just put it out there bare and said, this is what I was thinking. This is what happened for me. This is what I did. And my goal with this is to show you guys that there is a road map that you can take.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to take my road exactly, but just like use this as inspiration to keep going. You know what I mean?
that.
I was like, and I just told him, don't cry for me, Argentina. I'm going to a show next week where I'm on a series. And
Yeah.
it's just really, really good for that. So, yeah.
So a question in my mind
Yeah.
is, when did, because this is all, one, I can tell this would be super helpful,
Yeah.
the service that you provide, but when did it come to, like, to be clear in your mind that you wanted to help in this way for actors? Like when in your like professional journey where you were like, I know you're coaching and I know that it kind of came out of that, but this seems like such a profound shift in even your own journey. Is there like a pinpoint, or is it a journey?
Between seasons 1 and season 2 of Bosch.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought, and I got the job that we all wanted. Right. And I'm recurring on an Amazon show, and I loved it. But there was still a piece of me that did not feel whole. It felt selfish. Right. Like I got this, and something didn't feel full. I don't know how to else to
kind of complete.
Complete, right? That, and I have my family, I have kids, and all that stuff, and I was like, what's missing? There was no give back component to this. There was just nothing. The message that I wanted to put, like, what am I doing in this life? That part wasn't complete. And like I said, through meditation, I really started to like lean into that, and that's when this happened. And it wasn't like, and people think about it like, oh, well, are you doing this because you were out of work as an actor? Were you none of that? I literally had just booked the ABC Diversity Showcase. I was doing that. I was recurring on this show. I had just booked another something, maybe, I don't know, one of those other. Anyway, I was working. Yeah. I was working, and there was no shortage, and like it was great. I just felt there was something else I should be doing, and this to me, like, it feels like it checks those boxes for me, because I get to look at other actors. I get to talk to them. I just had a conversation yesterday with this a young woman who was blocked on something, and I got to work with her for 60 minutes on like just getting a little bit deep and removing some of those blocks in this industry. And that's amazing. Guys, I think my roles that I do are fantastic. I think what I did on Grey's Anatomy, that's Emmy-worthy, is fantastic. But this stuff is also pretty fucking fantastic too.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
and leaves ripple effects. Like,
totally.
and so for me, it feels on message with me. It feels on purpose. It feels like it feels good.
Yeah.
The problem is
it's a great companion.
It's a great service. Yeah. It's a service. You're like being a blessing to other people. Like literally, like I think that in all we do, it's a service, right? Even with like the TV, we're entertaining somebody, we're telling stories. Yeah. But like you're also doing that with Think Bigger. It's like that's what you're also doing. Yeah. It's like but it's on like the other side of like the entertainment industry, where it's like, when you're behind the camera, you're entertaining the world, and then when you're doing this, you're kind of helping your people, like the other people that are in your
You're
shoes.
Being the RA.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I'm good to use all that.
Yeah.
So people who knew me already, right, who really were like in my inner circle, they're like, DaJuan, you've always been a life coach. Like, now you just have.
It makes sense.
Now you just have tools. It didn't. Nobody was like, what? They're all just like, cool.
What made you think to do that? Yeah.
Nobody was like, cool. And I think the big thing now for me is, just how can I keep them balanced? I don't even believe in that word, right? But how can I, still give back to my people, as you said, but also make sure I'm feeding this my soul as an actor and doing that. And so that's been probably more challenging. And I was going to shut my business down in January of this year. And I think I said that
2020?
No,
or this year, 2019.
And I said, the only way I can see to do this is if I grow. It's my word of the year. I wear around my neck. As the word is, if I grow, meaning expand, meaning like I got to get some other coaches in there. I got to get, I got to get my assistant in there. I got to get people in there, because I was doing it all by myself, and it wasn't. Yeah, and it's tough. And it just like, and I wanted to reach out, and I was like, guys, last year from September through December, I don't remember it.
Right.
I don't remember it. And I was shadowing director on my show. I was shooting my own short, and I was going around to festivals. I was, still on a show. I was working on Bosch. That's when I shot Grey's Anatomy. Like, it's like, don't cry for me, Argentina. But you also want to, if you're doing all these moments, you want to live them. Right. You want to appreciate them.
Yeah.
And none of what I just said did you hear me say I was with my kids. Right. And I have 2 little boys that like get to have their dad around. And so I was like, I don't want to not remember any of this stuff anymore.
I love that.
And so I just was like, all right, where are your values? What do you want to do? And so I kind of backed up, and I just said in January, if I can't get this right, or I can't start to see a way to make this work for me, then, this is one of those things that I have to like take a step back from.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
And so present. And it's cool that you're constantly evaluating, reevaluating.
You have to.
Now, as we're kind of like wrapping this up,
bringing the plane in for a descent.
We're bringing it in. We always love to do just kind of like a shake the dust off.
Okay.
5 questions.
That's not shake the dust off. That's like throw the dust on.
I know, right?
But they're fun questions.
5 fun questions. The only rule in it is don't worry about getting it right. Just answer whatever comes to your head.
Oh my God. Can I just tell you
It's not
something
a
before
quiz.
you start on
Yeah,
this?
please.
That on my show, on Bosch, the producers and the Titus, they say that I am cinematically bankrupt because I don't know like a lot of. I was like, oh my God, I love Spartacus. I watched it on Stars, and they were like, it was like silent. Everybody was like, no, we're talking about the original Spartacus.
The Spartacus.
Listen, I don't know anything about anything when it comes to that stuff.
And I don't know, so I'm scared. Like,
so
right?
this is like easy
good.
peasy.
Okay, cool. Okay,
because I am not a trivia person.
Good.
Yeah.
Baby Shark. No,
I
I
don't.
yeah,
exactly.
I don't even know what that is.
Nailed
Just
it.
kidding.
Wow.
No, if you could be any animal in the world,
Yeah.
what would it be
Ooh, what would it be? I
in
don't know.
existence?
In existence. Okay, I'd be a bird, like a hawk thing, because I think
Yes.
they can fly over and see stuff from these bird eye, and just get to places faster. And
They
Like
get great
they're epic.
eyes, especially if you go hawk.
let's do. I like that.
Number 2, if you can only have one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Bacon, hamburgers.
Ooh, yes.
Right? That you had it right there.
Yes.
love
Number
'em.
That's
3, if you could have any superpower or be a superhero, what would it be
And why?
and why?
So growing up, I always, because representation matters,
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that I had to be Storm because she was one of the black ones,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so I thought that
X-Men, right?
X-Men, right? I thought that I could control the weather and I could do all this stuff. So I've always thought that that would be my
Superhero?
superhero and superpower. So I would stick to that because that's my roots. And I used to work in a comic book store.
I
Oh,
love
nice.
that.
Out here?
No, it was my first job at 13.
Oh,
I used to get
awesome.
paid on store credit.
Oh, that's
You're like, yes.
And
buy
I
a
thought it
book.
was right, and I thought it was the best thing ever. They're paying me like $6 an hour, and I get to like spend it on.
You're like,
comics.
that's all I need.
totally relate. I was hired quote, to help someone dig a fence, and they had rocks in their landscaping, so we had to use one of those evacuators. So literally, me and my best friend, we were like using this heavy machinery at around that age
Yeah.
to build this entire fence.
Right.
And we were paid in a CD.
Yeah, were you
And
happy?
we were like, we got the CD of the, and now we look back and we're like, that's like $16
Yeah,
for like hours.
yeah.
That's
I
hilarious.
totally relate.
I got it. It's good.
Okay, question 4, celebrity crush, if you have one.
I don't really me.
Okay,
Love
great.
it.
I'm the celebrity crush on myself. I look at myself and tell myself, "You're great. You're wonderful. I love you."
That's
love
awesome.
that.
I love that. And then number 5 is if you were not in the entertainment industry at all, what else could you see yourself doing?
Sommelier. I would probably I would probably
nice.
be something to do with wine and like what I mean. I love
Yeah.
red wine. And I would have a travel component to it because I think there's so much of this world we haven't seen.
Oh goodness, I know. Isn't it interesting?
it's so
Like it's
interesting.
always, and it's like we've been out of the country. Well, I've been out of the country twice. We went to Israel for our honeymoon.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is
Everything.
that everything,
Yeah.
when you actually step out of LA, because, it's hard sometimes to travel. Just, I don't want to book out. I need whatever.
Yeah.
And then, but when you actually step out of the world, it's like, man, there's so much world and people living lives that it's
Yeah.
like we get overconsumed with so many things here that sometimes, not that they're not relevant, but to a point.
Yeah, I just want to also like since you brought this up, and I the mindset guy,
Yeah.
and just going through what I've been through a lot out here. Book out, guys. Book
Yeah.
out and don't
Live.
be afraid to book out. Live. I've missed, and I'm almost emotional thinking about it. I missed too many birthdays of
Yeah.
my families. I missed too many holidays without my family because we were again in Florida because I didn't book out. And I remember staying here in this town until like the 24th of
Yeah.
December
Yeah.
because they would the agents would inject fear, like you gotta like stay here for the very last moment because they're gonna like maybe cast you.
You might book something.
Don't you guess what? You might book it during the regular time too, guys.
Right.
Book out and go see Israel. Go on your honeymoons.
Yeah.
Go on your things. And guess what? If something happens, change your ticket and come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you want.
Right.
To
Yeah.
do that if you want. And I just wanted to say that when
I love
my
that.
heart goes out to people that don't book it because that's fear. You
Yeah,
have to
it
choose
is.
fearful.
No, but it is because you have this
definitely is,
mindset
yeah.
of like, well, you know,
This is going to be the thing that ruins me.
Yeah.
You know?
Not the meter.
Exactly.
Not the
okay, you guys. No, but yes, that's so hilarious. I just, oh
I
my
love
gosh.
that.
To be, I don't know, I was probably like 26 at the time. I don't know. Anyway,
So last year happened?
yeah,
Last year?
like
Yeah.
it happened like 3 years ago.
Exactly.
So, and then
That was it.
That was
Yeah,
it. Those are
that
my
was
questions.
it. I always love to. It's kind of a trick.
It's like a
question,
bonus because
there's
I
a
have my
bonus.
5, but then he has his one.
Yes.
One of my favorite things is because the reason we started this podcast is similar, adjacent to the idea of helping people who, when we were wanting help, had
Yeah.
none.
Great.
So the goal of this is just to share stories and all that. So
They're not going to like this version.
they're gonna
of
love this.
episode?
No, this is seriously. You got to start your podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Like I want to say that publicly, but we'll talk after. You have to start it because this was beautiful.
Oh, man, thank
and it was a really good conversation. But if you're listening to this, if you're the person who is like, I've always wanted to be an actor, I'm too afraid,
Right.
or you are an actor and you're here and you're doing it,
And you're discouraged.
and you're discouraged, what would be a nugget of advice that you would say, this above all other things is going to take care of you?
Everything you have is already inside of you. That's one. And the second piece of that would be surround yourself around better people. The thing that will take care of you more than anything else is to get yourself around people that are inspiring, that are uplifting, that are doers, not just sayers, that are actually doers. That will change it. And you'll start to understand that by seeing people, all of a sudden you're like, I'm not a morning person. You start waking up earlier.
Yeah.
Or you're like, I'm not auditioning. Your auditioning starts to get better. Oh, I'm not great with money. All of a sudden you're saving a little bit of money because of the people you are hanging around. And I can't stress that enough. You know, like it's get yourself in a better circle. That's that. And I'm gonna just add a third one because
No,
Yeah,
oh my
please.
gosh, I'm like, can you keep going?
Everybody always says to me, like, what's your number? What can you pinpoint one of the things for your success?
Yeah.
And I say there's many. And I was like, because it's just not just one thing. But when I have to say one thing, it's being accountable to somebody else besides yourself. That is a very big thing, and that is how I got successful. And within that, don't be afraid to create what you need. And if you
Yeah.
need accountability, go out there and get yourself an accountability person or a group or a coach or whatever, because
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't have to be solo, but like you're doing this by yourself. I'm sorry. I took your bonus question and I'm like, there's
No.
just more to
No,
say.
but I love that because I think
perfect.
that there is a lot of truth to that. I think we were not meant to do life alone. I think we need.
Cavemen were packs.
Yeah.
Cavemen tribes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? They
Yeah.
did. That's a good one. We were not. So
I
thank
love
you guys
that.
for having me.
Oh my
Of
gosh,
course.
we're glad we were able to make it happen.
One of my favorite things is go find your tribe, build it.
Something.
If you don't got it, find someone who is doing it. I love the surround yourself around people who are better than you or doing good things, because
Or our doers.
that's our goal here. And guess what?
We want to be doers, you guys.
Doers,
And
not
we-
just speakers, right? DaJuan, thank you so freaking much for your time, for your energy, for bringing it today. I mean, honestly, this is going to be one that I listen to and listen to and listen to. If our listeners are going, oh, I need more.
I need to get in
How
touch
can
with
they get in
Yes.
touch?
Easily just find me at thinkbiggercoaching.com or DaJuan at thinkbiggercoaching.com.
Yes, you guys, show them some love.
And we'll make sure to tag that in your show notes. Thank you for joining us again for another week. Nod, we did it.
We did it. We all did it.
You
The three
did
of
it.
us. We figured it out. We got it done.
See you next week.
Peace.